Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This week I have another character cup random character design video for you. If you are unfamiliar with the character cup, it is a tiny jar that I have stuffed full of random character traits and drawing prompts, and I just roll a little die to determine how many I pick, and then pick a couple from there and create something. And I must say, my little cup here has been very kind to me lately. The two prompts that I drew for this particular video are ball gown and mask. And I love drawing dresses, and I love drawing people with masks, so I was really surprised that I got both of them. And funny enough, this is actually the second recording of this particular image. So similar to my mermage video that I did a couple of weeks, maybe a couple months ago now, where I used the character cup, I drew something and I wasn't particularly pleased with it, so I did it again and I was much happier. And the same thing happened with this character design. I did something totally different. I sketched out my sketchbook, I tried to color it with markers, and it just didn't turn out the way that I had wanted it to. So after kind of fretting about it for a bit and being a little annoyed and frustrated, I decided, you know what, I think for me and these types of videos, I end up having to do it twice. I think that's just the way that the process works for me. So I took a couple deep breaths and took another stab at it, and I switched up the medium. So instead of using markers, which is something that I am not quite confident in, I decided to bring out my watercolor and my gouache paints and kind of wanted to take that route instead. And it ended up being a much more pleasant process for me. And if you notice the lighting is kind of off, it's because this was actually filmed at nighttime, which is something I had been on the fence about doing. I really prefer my videos to have natural light because I don't have a proper lighting setup, but Mitch kind of snapped me out of it a little bit, and he was like, you are literally limiting your creative time to such a short window, because our apartment has beautiful lighting with the wide windows we have, but there's only a couple of hours before the sun kind of streams into the apartment, and then it's too bright and very hot and kind of unbearable. So the way that I was working, and one of the reasons why I've been so behind on really producing any videos, is that my window of opportunity is so small that I start stressing out about having to get something, you know, perfect, quotation marks, within such a very short amount of time, like just a couple of hours. So that added pressure was really making it hard for me to kind of enjoy what I was doing and have really any fun at all. And then I would get stressed and feel bad about myself and be like, I'm not a good artist, I can't do anything. And that's not true. It's just that I was being kind of silly and stubborn about trying to create some sort of filming setup. So we don't have studio lights, but we did our best, and I think the setup is pretty good. I know that the actual image is a little out of focus. That's just me kind of still not entirely sure of my camera settings yet, but I think it's not bad. The one thing about this setup that's really kind of not stressful, just like, I guess, sad for me, is that I miss working on my pink desk. I just found that desk was just so nice and lovely, but it's currently upstairs in my bedroom slash office, and that place is kind of acting as a second storage room at the moment, so it's just not possible for me to really film at that desk comfortably. So for now I'm doing it downstairs on our dining table, and that was the wooden panel you saw kind of at the beginning, and it was a little too reflective, and I know I'm rambling about this, but it really kind of upsets me. I'm very attached to my spaces that I work, so for this particular piece to sit down and kind of be working on something different in a place that felt a little different was a bit of a learning curve for me, but I think it turned out okay. I don't think this is going to be the layout for many videos, but it could be for the next few, so I hope that's okay with you guys. But why don't we actually get into talking about the character? So originally I had this concept of this girl in this like bird mask and this like bright green dress. I knew that I really wanted her hair to be this like bright red color, but my original concept just didn't work out, so I was like, okay, let's do something else. And I grabbed, it's not watercolor paper, but it's this really textured sketchbook paper I have, and I wanted to test its durability because I use it a lot for actually a lot of my prints, but I wanted to see what kind of mediums it could handle. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring out my watercolors, I'm gonna bring out my gouache, I'm gonna bring out my markers, and I'm gonna do a mixed media piece, and I'm gonna see what I can do on this paper and see how much abuse it can take before it kind of buckles and falls apart. And I was actually really surprised at how well this paper held up. It was pretty durable. Not the best. I did have to tape it down really securely and it still kind of started to buckle, but that's really to be expected. It's not meant to hold all this wet medium that I kind of forced upon it. But yeah, the character herself, funny enough, I love this color combo of this like bright, spicy red gouache paint and this, what's it called? I don't remember, and I don't have the watercolor close to me, but it's this gray watercolor paint, and I really like it, and I love how it contrasts with this bright red, and I was like, yeah, this color scheme is so cool, and it's so different from everything I do, and yeah, look how unique and artistic I'm being. And then as I finished it, I remembered that I had done a character cup video a few months back of a character with this like exact color scheme. Like I even used the same paints. And the hair was like the bright red hair and the gray outfit, and it was just really it was just funny that they ended up being the same when I thought I was being so unique and different. Also, sorry if you could hear a little bit of buzzing in the background there. I was getting a phone call. Anyways, yes. So back to the character. So I ended up doing her dress in watercolor, so it kind of looks a little more textured and sort of transparent. I couldn't decide if I wanted it to be gray or gray blue, but ended up just kind of keeping it gray. I kind of like that a little bit better. And I wanted her hair to really stand out, so I decided to do that with gouache paint and kind of paint it a bit differently. So her hair is almost very flat, with like these very obvious texture lines, where her dress is a very different kind of painting style. And I don't know if I really like the contrast in those as much as I thought I would. I don't think it's bad looking, but I think I could have executed it a little bit better, but it was fun. And that's kind of what I ended up really wanting to do with this after the frustration of the first attempt at this. I knew I just needed to sit down and play around with paints that I haven't touched in a while and just have a good time with it. And I don't think it turned out awful, but I definitely would like to maybe change some things. I would like to rework her hands. I'm noticing that I'm getting a lot, I don't want to say sloppy with my hands, but I think my skill with my hands has dropped a little bit. So I know I need to practice those. So I think I'm going to start doing some more hand studies, just because I had issues executing how they would like work in this picture. Another thing that I would probably change is her sleeves. I found this dress on Pinterest that had this like kind of like cool detached puffy sleeves that were more transparent than the rest of the dress, and I really liked that, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna draw that and it'll be great. And I didn't really plan it out properly. So I think all in all, the only issues I have with this drawing are just from like poor planning, but that's okay. These aren't really meant to be super intensely finished pieces, more so just to kind of see what I can come up with some random words and see where it takes me. And this one I'm definitely a lot more happy with than the first, so that's what matters. And here you can see I'm just adding a couple more details with my white gel pen. I'm pretty sure every traditional medium user loves white gel pens. You can get a lot more oomph in your pieces with white gel pen. This one's dying on me though. I had a bit of a tricky time kind of getting the lines to be as smooth as I used to be able to get with it, so I think it's time that this one was retired and I get a new one. But yeah, other than that, I don't have a whole lot more to talk about this piece. This is pretty much it in its finished state. I think I go over it a little bit more with some black liners. Her mask is a little bit based off of a Venetian mask that I found on Pinterest with those like black eyes. I really like it. Originally, the mask was going to be super ornate, but then the detailed mask and the dress and the hair, everything was sort of competing, and there wasn't really a proper hierarchy in the piece, so I ended up simplifying her mask way down, and I think it was a lot more effective that way. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you guys on my next video, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope that if you decide to draw anything today, I hope it turns out exactly the way you want it to. Okay, bye.